So, a very good morning to everyone. It's been a long time after which I've come online. I think almost 2 years, and what a day to come online to share something that I learned and experienced about Sunya, which we started during the lockdown period, and now I can connect with so many of you all. And I see everybody out here. Anu Kumar just said good morning from Nepal. We have people, Suav Fernandez from Mexico, hi. We have Samtula Ansari, hi. And many more people. I cannot just name everyone, but here I am live with you all. And today, as we go into the second season of Sunya Talks, and very soon from next week onwards we're going to have Dr. Lim joining us, and that will be fun because that will be one kind of learning experience that we're going to have every week. And we're going to take different topics because Sunya now has some content. It's got some material that we can share. The initial days of Sunya were all about experiencing what exactly Sunya was. And now I see Sunya taking shape very nicely. Sunyatees who have been dedicating their time and effort to Sunya have started to spread across the world. I see Saranya. Hi Saranya. Saranya is in Bangladesh, and she's now taken the light of Sunya and spreading that in Bangladesh. Very well done, Saranya. I saw some pictures. We have Amitav Jaiswal from Qatar. We have Suhaimi Muhammad from the Sunya Council Malaysia. Hi, wow. We have Rashma Sheikh, Milene Kopikar. So thank you all for coming on a very short notice. This is just a teaser as we head forward for our second season of Sunya Talks. And what best to talk than to discuss on the 7 steps of Sunya. Because Sunya over a period of time was supposed to be simplified, was supposed to be in an organized way so that we all can practice that so-called very complex practice in an easy way. So if you all can hear me, everything is fine, the audio, the video, because it's been a long time that I've come online. So if everything is fine, just give me a thumbs up and I'll know everything okay. So here comes Manjunath Patkar. He's my guy who is always around to let me know if things are good. So great to start with. So the 7-step ladder to practice Sunya, that is our topic today. We're going to have this half an hour session and move forward to understanding the concepts of Sunya so that we can practice ourselves and teach to the people around. And as we head forward, let's try to understand what Sunya is. So now if you see, why do we need to have a technique to practice meditation? Can't meditation just be sitting down there, closing your eyes and wondering how beautiful the world is, feel good? That's it, just experience, and that's how simple it should be. Meditation should be that simple, right? And why should you develop a technique to understand this? Why should you even discuss about practicing meditation? Isn't it as simple as going to sleep? Nobody teaches us how to go to sleep. Then why do you need somebody to teach us meditation and so-called dhyana? You see the picture that I'm showing here is about a man climbing up a ladder. Climbing up is an easy task, but if there is a technique, if there is a method, if there is some supporting system, the whole process becomes so easy. That's how Dr. Lim, our teacher, our guide, has been able to give us the consolidated practice in a most simplest form so that we can practice something that was considered to be a very special technique or something specially to be achieved by people. So this technique is as simple as climbing up the ladder. Ladder of what? Ladder of 2 vertical pillars. One is the Samata, the other is Vipasyana, and the other horizontal, you can say, footings that we call them as the belts. Now as you see, the reason why we have developed this 7-step ladder is to make meditation so easy that even a child can do that, even a child can practice. And no wonder Sunya is being practiced by children so much across the world. In India, in Mexico, around the world, people are just practicing Sunya because it's so simple that even a child can practice. And it is said that Dr. Lim, who personally had shared this with me, that at a very early age of just 9 to 10 years, Dr. Lim first set his journey, his attention on the practice of Sunya. And from there his journey began, from where he started to train his mind to pay more focus and attention on his breath, and through that in many things in his life. And I think that is a very vital element, you know. So why the 7-step? Answer is very simple: to make things easy for us. Easy means we can do it easily, we can do it daily, we can keep on doing it for a long period of time, and also we can teach somebody else. That's why it should be easy. And as this child is climbing the ladder, we are teaching Sunya in a simplest form so that everyone can practice it. And when it comes up to climbing the ladder of Sunya, why do we need to do that? As Subhuti asks Buddha in the Diamond Sutra, 2 questions: how should I control my thoughts, and how should I focus my mind? Okay, basically these are the 2 questions he asks. First basically is definitely how do I focus my mind, and then second one is how do I control my thoughts. So basically 2500 years ago the question was still there, which is relevant even today. How do I control my thoughts? How do I focus my mind? And this answer is simple. You see this man climbing up. Once you climb up the ladder, you are able to see things clearly. So why do we practice Sunya? Only 2 reasons: to gain the mind the skill set, the ability to focus and to stabilize, and the second one is to have more clarity and right view. You know, a ladder basically helps you to stabilize, so it doesn't move around, and because it stabilizes, you are able to see clearly. That's exactly what we do in Sunya. Now, moving forward, we have basically 7 bells, and these bells are taken from the rainbow, the 7 colors of the rainbow. And if you look at it, we go the reverse way, from the red belt, the orange belt, the yellow belt, the green belt, the blue belt, the indigo belt. All these belts we do, and finally we achieve the you can say the white belt, that's a Zen belt. So technically we practice for 6 belts, and the last one is an achievement that we get. It's something that it is a skill that we acquire, and that's why you end up being on the 7th belt. So we need to practice the 6th belt, and over the last few years we have been able to formulate a model of training around these belts. And so now we are very clear exactly what red belt has, what has orange belt to do, and what you need to do in yellow belt and the green belt. So we are going to study all that in the next weeks to come. We're going to go delve deeper into it, but today we're going to have a kind of overview of different types of belts and why do we practice. So let's take, for example, the red belt. Red belt is, I'm sure many of you all already practicing Sunya have started their journey with red belt. Red belt is basically to calm down the mind. That is why the ladder of Samata Vipasyana, the ladder, the Samata part is practiced more here, so as to calm down the mind. Why is it needed? Because our lives have become too busy, too hectic. Our mind keeps on getting worried with so many things. Thoughts, they just don't come, they flood our minds, and we are actually, everyone is going through a turmoil, a kind of a tsunami, and if you don't know how to calm things down, you will have to pay a big price. And so-called mental diseases, psychological disorders are on a rise only and only because people have lost the skill and the ability to calm down the mind. And here comes the practice of reverse count. The reverse counting practice is basically to calm down the agitated mind. This is also called as the Samata practice, the initial Samata practice, the primary Samata practice. We in this practice do 9 to 0. When I say we count 9 to 0 is we watch our breath going in and out. Hear my words. We watch our breath going in and out. I've seen a common mistake when people practice the reverse count or the red belt is they always they count the numbers and then they follow the breath. It's the other way around. You should observe the breath and then count. Remember this. This is a very important tip. So when you observe your breath, okay, you see your breath going in and out, and then you say 9. In and out 8. Sometimes it can be faster, sometimes it can be slow. Let it take its own pace. Let it go on its own journey. So 9 to 0, 29 to 0 and 99 to 0 are the 3 parts in which we practice the red belt. Remember, red belt is your basic foundation on which your future belts depend upon. So make sure you practice that diligently. Never ever in your Sunya practice, in future also, never let go of your red belt. That is why I give the example of a ladder. The first step you will always have to climb up so that you move to the second step. So remember, when you practice, red belt is your first belt that you will practice always. Diagnose yourself. You will know when your numbers are getting missed. Even today, me or even Dr. Lim, we still, when life is very busy, hectic, when we have to try to concentrate on the numbers, even in the reverse order, sometimes it's so difficult to even finish the count from 99 to 0. Halfway through, we are in some other world. So it's a normal thing and it's okay. It just lets us know, a self-diagnosis, that yes, something is wrong with the mind. The mind is in an agitated state. It's time to take a break. And then we realize enough is enough. We take a short break and then get back to work. So it's a very, very important diagnostic tool, the red belt. Then in the red belt, for theoretical purposes, we also make sure that everybody knows about the 9 no's. Okay, they are the foundation of Sunya. They keep us all together. There is no kind of discrimination. There is no kind of division. There is no kind of accusation. Nobody can point fingers at us having said that we are carrying some kind of a concept. We have a hidden agenda. The 9 no's are our guarding pillars. Make sure everybody who practices Sunya knows this very well. And of course, you can practice the red belt, but you should really, really also practice diligently your 5 Shilas, the 5 moralities. They keep us in the human realm so that we can engage with everyone in the same realm of the human being. So if we don't follow the 5 basic human moral values, I think we would not be considered as human. And then as this practice is basically meant for human beings who have the awareness of things. If we don't even have these 5 Shilas basically to practice upon in our daily life, in every moment of our life, then we have no right to even practice any other belt. So the Shilas become the primary element through which we establish our foundation of practice. The best way is to teach. Go out and teach, as we did in the early days. Teach, 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 because teaching is learning. The more you teach, the more you learn. The more you learn, the more you practice. The more you practice, the higher you develop the skills of getting your mind in focus and making sure that it is stable. So very, very important. Don't stop teaching. It doesn't matter who your audience is, 1 or 2. Right now, when I'm looking at the screen, I just see a blank screen. Nobody is there. But I still am practicing, hoping that somebody would be listening. Then you also have the ability here is to see whether your mind is able to focus. And you know for sure that your mind is being tested. You're giving a test. So when you do your counts, you are sure that you don't need a third party or an examiner to let you know whether your mind is at focus or not. You know that when you look at your own breath, when you see that you're missing counts, you realize my mind is not able to focus on particular things. And I think the self-diagnosis, analyzing itself, is a very, very important thing. So make sure you're able to practice the red belt. Remember, red belt is the bloodline of Sunya practice. That is why maybe the color also red. Remember to nourish it daily with the right practice every day. Keep your practice on. Okay, so we have the next belt that we go into is the orange belt. Yes, as we develop the ability to calm down the mind, if we don't activate the mind, your mind can become more like a static mind, very slow. The ability of its activeness is lost. So you need to then churn it up again to the active mode, and that's where comes the orange belt. And this is more to do with the Vipasyana practice. And here, if you all know, in the orange belt, we do the double count. When I say double count is when the breath goes in, we count 1. When the breath goes out, we count 2. When the breath goes in, we count 3. When the breath goes out, we count 4. And we keep on doing that till we come to the number 10. So 9 and 10. And after 10, we go into a loop of 10 counts. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. Then again 1, 2. Now how long should you do this? You need to use your phone or something like this that can put a timer. This timer of say 20 minutes is good enough for you to make sure that you are in the loop with a particular time to monitor on. So this is very, very important because this takes you into a deeper dhyana, a more deeper concentration. And you now have just started to cultivate in the orange belt the ability to see things clearly, because now you're breaking the breath into two parts: the inspiration, which is an odd number, and the expiration, which is the even number. You need to keep your mental awareness that you don't miss the odd and even. You also need to make sure that you don't cross 10 and go counting 11, 12. You should also be tested in this practice for patient endurance, because this practice of orange belt, many a times when you are in the loop, you just hope that the bell rings, the timer is on. You start getting worried because the 20 minutes can seem to be a lifetime for some initial practitioners, and over a period of time they seem to be just a few minutes. So this is again a skill that you acquire. So very, very important. After the orange belt, we then go into our next belt, that is the yellow belt. Now you see here, in the red belt we did the reverse count. In the orange belt we did the forward count. In the reverse count we did a long count of 99 to 0. In the orange belt we did a forward count, the double count of 1 to 10, but in a loop. Now in yellow belt there is no more counting. We have let go of the basic tool that was used to calm down the mind and to see things clearly. And now if you look at it, in this we develop the skill of observing, but this observation is more to do with Samata. So you keep your focus and attention here and you observe the breath that goes in and out. You don't travel along with the breath, your mind does not go there, it just remains focused here. So here when you observe, you keep on observing to the nature of your breath. Okay, develop the focus. You need to be like a police officer investigating every breath that goes in, its nature, how fast it is, how slow it is, how does it come, what does it do, everything. And I can give you many, many points that have been mentioned in the Maha Annapana Smriti Sutra about the qualities of your breath. And you need to be able to identify those qualities. Let me give you an example. In the Maha Annapana Smriti Sutra, it is said that Some people, when they practice the yellow belt, they can feel their breath as if a rope is going in, and over a period of time, as they keep on practicing, that rope that was going in becomes like a silk thread. So the transformation of a breath into from a rope to a silk thread is what they experience. So that's very, very important. And many more things which you, as the investigator, as the observer, need to be watching and letting yourself know about the nature of your breath. The most amazing thing is that this quality that you start seeing, you realize that it keeps on changing. It's very dynamic and depends on many conditions, and your breath follows the state of your mind. So if your mind is agitated, so will be your breath. So stay and keep your focus on the breath. Then observe the nature of the breath. Again, in this belt, you're tested for more into your patience and your endurance. And this time, you don't even have numbers to hold on to. You don't even have a thing to do. You just purely observe this. This is very, very important practice of Samata, which is when your mind is completely going to a standstill. You'll realize that in this practice, that suddenly a point comes that it is still. And how do you know that? Is by watching your breath, because your breath suddenly stops. You think it is stopped, but it moves. It becomes very, very subtle, and it becomes so subtle that it's very difficult to observe, but yet you need to observe in its subtleness also. Okay, so this is a very, very important belt. How do you practice? You do your red belt. Okay, it takes around 15 odd minutes. Then you do your orange belt. It takes around 20 odd minutes. Then you set a timer, another timer for 20 minutes for your yellow belt. Say, by now you have already cultivated the practice method, a technique for which you will remain in stillness, sitting and observing for almost an hour, that 55 minutes. And that's great. That's a great achievement. In many of our retreats, we are able to achieve this kind of skill of sitting still for even newcomers in just 2 or 3 days. And so it is very much possible. And you know why? The answer lies very simple, because we in Sunya have a technique to stay still the mind, and that is very, very important. So moving forward, we also launched the green belt. Now this was an advanced Vipasyana practice, very, very important. Now in this, if you see, we are flip-flopping Samata, Vipasyana, Samata, Vipasyana. So we are doing this, and while we are doing this, we are climbing up the ladder. Okay. Now in the advanced Vipasyana practice, the green belt, what do we do? Your focus that was here, the mind that was focused here and observing the breath here, starts letting go of this observation point, and now, like a police in his van, is going to take a round inside you, inside your body, and travel through, okay, just to check if everything is okay. So you basically scan. You can park here, you can put your attention at your forehead, you can watch your hair, your skull, you can go along just like a investigator, a police that is patrolling around the body. You can actually scan your whole body. If there is pain, numbness, stiffness, itching anywhere in your body, take your attention there. Make sure you're able to drive there your attention and observe the phenomena that happens, because every phenomena follows a particular path. It arises, then it sustains for some period of time, and then it starts diminishing before it completely finishes off. Then somewhere else a new phenomena will be born, it will rise again, it will sustain for some period of time, and they go back again. So many times people who practice Sunya, they start experiencing pain which comes and then goes back again. So beautiful experience where you can see the impermanence of even your bodily feelings. You can also see impermanence in thoughts. The thoughts will come, you observe them without interference, they will go. So many things you can actually experience yourself. As you see, then we go deeper into dhyana in this. Okay, we go deeper into dhyana. So now we have delved more deeper. Now with this, again you are being tested for your patience and endurance. Remember, by this time you're already doing another 20 minutes. So you're almost crossed an hour, and that's a test of your patience and endurance. It is said that people who are able to practice green belt, they have already acquired the skill to focus their mind and to control their thoughts, because 1 hour of stillness is a great achievement, especially people like us who are homebound, who work every day from morning to evening. This kind of stillness gives us good health, gives us mental peace, and we can work our way to prosperity. So very, very important. And hence, if you look, there are many more levels that we are going to move forward. We are already on the verge of coming up with the blue belt. The blue belt is going to be a specialized, personalized practice that we will be teaching for selected green belt practitioners, which in this belt you already have started to move into MSV. Like right now what you are practicing, we say, is BSV, Basic Samata Vipasyana. That is, you're practicing on yourself. But by the time you reach the blue belt, you need to carry your practice with the society. You have to make sure that you are able to focus and stabilize your mind in the society, in the chaotic society. You're able to achieve that kind of control of thoughts. Even the people that bother you, you need to manage them. You manage feelings, not only yours but others' feeling also. So it becomes more of an engagement practice from blue belt onwards, and it will be fun to learn more about that as Dr. unveils that practice very soon. So if you look at this ladder on my left hand side, you'll see that we have the ladder of Samata Vipasyana, which we climb up, and that 7-step ladder to practice Sunya meditation is very, very important. So I'm sure everybody is practicing, and they have been practicing Sunya for last few years, and have been able to achieve that kind of stability and serenity, and there are tons of experiences that they are ready to share with us. So yes, Sunya practice is all about practicing, and only when you practice will you know. So as I said, we are going to have many sessions like these, shorter sessions. These are live sessions, so I'm open for question answers at the end of the session for 5 to 10 minutes also. And so this is what I wanted to do, jumpstart the second season of Sunya Talks, and I hope I have been able to share something that I have been able to learn over a period of last few years. And I'm sure I kept it in English because I'm sure there are many Hindi audiences. Maybe I'll do a session in Hindi also for them separately, but this I wanted to jumpstart the Tuesdays 5 p.m. every week Sunya Talks series. And next week we would be having Dr. Lim joining us, and that would be fun because then we come into our kind of video podcasts on Sunya Talks, and many things to ask Dr. Lim and to learn from him, a complete package of wisdom that he can share with us, that can help us guide ourselves in the difficult times that we would see. So I'm open now for any questions before we wrap up, because you won't believe that we have almost finished 34 minutes, and that's how fast it is, yes, I will just go through the comments. Maybe I've just got a comment here, and I think we can pull these comments up on here. We have, okay, then we have some comments, okay, then okay, so if you have your questions, you can definitely put there in the comment section. If not, I think we can call it a day, and thank you so much for coming online at a very short notice. I hope I was able to share something for you all, and maybe with these small sessions I can inspire you like the oil of a burning lamp to keep burning and spreading the light of the Sunya practice. Okay, I'll become the fuel, just a fuel to help you both. Yeah, so yeah, Vinay Sonule says, Gate Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Bodhi Swaha. Yeah, this is the famous, you can say, Maha Mantra of Shunya also, that come along, let's go to the other shore, okay, to realize the Bodhi. Bodhi means the realization, and I think through the Shunya practice we all can. So here comes the question first from Dr. Puvan. Yes, Dr. Puvan. Dr. Puvan asking a question. Okay, let's pull Dr. Puvan's comment up here. Okay, here comes Dr. Puvan. Can someone stop the Shunya at only the red belt level? Yeah, basically it's like, can somebody stop climbing the ladder on the first step? Yes, it is his choice. If that's what he's happy at, I think many people can do that also. They suddenly find this so fascinating, because I remember a Nepali guy, Dr. Puvan, who, when we introduced him to the red belt, he was so amazed with the reverse counting that he never even saw us again. He started his own school of reverse counting, and he believes that that's it. I've got a ladder with one step, and he's happy with that ladder. I think that's okay. It's up to him, you know. Then I hope that answers your question, Dr. Puvan. Then we have, okay, so we have Lema Tabios also saying good morning. Okay, we have, thanks a lot, refreshing the city page, Subhash Wankar. Okay, so we have another question coming up from Manjunath. Yeah, Samata and Vipasyana, in between we steps are we calling condition or conditions. Samatha and Vipassana are the two vertical ladders, and if you look at these steps, they are steps. They are not conditions, they are levels on which we practice, so that we can experience that particular kind of experience that we can get in that particular level, that helps us to move up. So that's how it is. So keeping it simple, remember my analogy of the ladder. It makes things very easy. So if somebody tomorrow asks you, what are you teaching? We are teaching nothing, you know. We're just helping people to climb into their own self in a better way. Okay, there's nothing to teach, basically. Okay, yeah, so we have Champrix Chuting Galeza saying, I use Shunya on my 5-kilometer swim. Wow, that's good. But be careful, you know. When you swim, you should swim. When you drive, you should drive. When you walk, you should walk. When you eat, you should eat. You should do everything with 100% awareness in the act that you are engaged in. And that is why the practice of Shunya is to bring you or develop in you a skill that you can develop that 100% awareness for you to practice. So, well, good luck for you if you're being able to do that, Champrix. 5-kilometer swim with Shunya, I'm sure that's a Shunya swim. Congratulations on that. So I think with this we are almost at the end of a session, and it's been 38 minutes and 32 seconds. I think that's a good time that I did. You won't believe my life has become so busy and hectic. Moving into MSV, doctor put me into a lot of responsibilities. So then it is a test for us to see whether we can carry this stillness across in different domains of our life. Okay, so now we have another question coming up. Shashank, is there any time limit when it comes to practicing Shunya? No, the best time is when you are completely awake, because our practice of Shunya is not to take you to sleep. So when you're tired, you're fatigued, that's not the right time. Especially if you have eaten a lot of heavy meal, that's not the right time. Make sure that you practice when you're fresh, you're awake, you know. Don't use it just because it will give you a good sleep. Ours is a waking up practice, it's not a sleeping practice. Another question comes here. Okay, I think I need to move this a bit up. Okay, here it comes. Vinay says, please explain the word Vipasyana or Vipassana, meaning and the context. V means special. Okay, Pasyana means is basically the ability to see. So you acquire the special ability to see things, and this seeing is clarity, the clarity of the mind. When the mind is able to see things clearly, it can find its way out through any puzzle. Okay, because only a clear mind is able to solve problems, is able to guide the person well. So Vipassana is basically having the ability of the mind to see things clearly, very clearly. Okay, and oh yeah, so Juan says she wants to see in Bolivia. Yes, sure, we will see Juan. Then we have Sharmista. Okay, so now this is the first session. Hani Verma, this is my first session. Is Sunya in Sunya is meditation? Yeah, Sunya is a technique, Hani, wherein we actually help the mind, which has two basic natures of the mind. The mind has two basic qualities. Like a diamond has two qualities. One, it can reflect the light of whatever falls on it, the sun or whatever it is. And the second is you can see through a diamond, the clarity. These are the two qualities of the mind too. The mind also has two qualities. One, it has the ability to focus itself, that is to remain stable. And the second is to see things clearly through all the sensory experiences, all the emotional knots that we have. The mind is able to see through very clearly if it knows how to stabilize. So this practice is basically, Hani, is a technique of dhyana, which was originated in India, and the credit goes to our teacher, the first teacher, Buddha himself, who found out the easiest technique, watching the breath, because this is the only thing that we do without knowing. And so when we do this with knowing, we get to the ability to have more skill of knowing things that are happening around us. So yes, it is a meditation technique, also called as dhyana. In India we call it dhyan, in China they call it chan, and in Japan they call it zen. And in now, to make things easy, we calling it shunya. Shunya is a state of neutrality, a point where there is no right or wrong, there is no this and that. It's just the center point through from where we start observing ourselves. So hope you can learn this practice very soon, Hani. Okay. Now we have Champrik saying, thank you, Dr. Savira, for teaching me way back in 2018 in Cebu City, Philippines. I apply Sunya in my swimming. Great, Champriks. Okay, now we have, wow, great. So yes, it is magnetic words. Okay, we have Milind Kopikar. What is the daily recommended time of practice? Currently counting 99 to 0, then I do the loop of 1 to 10 for 5 minutes and observing the breath for a few minutes. Yeah, as I told you, rest well, let your body rest well, let your mind also rest well. After it has taken good rest, practice it. So when you have physically not tired and you're in a state of awareness, you're wakeful, that is a good time to practice. So currently you're doing 99 to 0, fantastic, and then you're doing the red belt and the orange belt. That's fantastic. So keep up the good work. Okay, so we have John saying, I do shunya after I pray. Very good, fantastic. Okay, Anil, how is shunya different from other forms? Many forms exist. Yeah, there are always many techniques. There are techniques in which people practice. But if you look at shunya, shunya is more, rationally designed around the current conditions that we go through. Like our agitated mind needs to first slow down. So our reverse count, our 99 to 0 plays a vital role. Then we don't want somebody else to diagnose what our problems are. We need to know that ourselves. So if you look, there is a lot of understanding gone in designing it. It might have some elements that are common with everyone, but as an overall simplified package, this could also be a consolidated, zipped Ashtanga Yoga. It can be a consolidated practice of many things. But if you look at it, the simplicity with which it can be done by anyone and everyone, that makes it unique. It's not something special out of the world, because it's not something that Dr. Lim or I invented. It is already mentioned with references in the Maha Annapana Smriti Sutra, which is almost around 2,500-year-old book, a sutra book, which is authentic source. And then there have been lineages of that date back from Buddha to Nagarjuna, to Kumarajiva, to Chai, and so many schools that have been carrying this practice along. So it has its own heritage of practice. So that's it. And the best thing is, check it for yourself if it suits you, and if it's the easy thing that you can do. I think that becomes your choice, you know. So yes, there's no disrespect to other practices. Next question is, the deeper into myself I feel more alone. It is natural. I think it's what Avnish is trying to say, deeper within me. It's more about feeling a kind of peace, you know. This peace we never experience, that makes us feel alone, because in a chaotic world we always think that it's the senses that make us feel that we exist. But without the senses of the sensory world, we do exist, and it's natural for us to feel like that. So absolutely normal. Okay, so we have another question coming from Rupa Savera. Good. What is the best posture while doing shunya? The best posture is what we call asana. Asana means something that is simple. If you can sit in the most comfortable position, having your spine straight, either in the lotus, half lotus, with a zafu to support your spine, you can actually practice that. Remember, the aim is to sit for a longer time. If you can do that, amazing, that would be. Okay, so yes, so Peru, everywhere from around the world, we have so many people coming up, and very soon they will be made. Okay, so we have tons of questions. I think that brings us to almost 46 minutes into the session, and I need to call it a day. So thank you so much for everyone to take out time and join this session. I'm sure I was able to deliver some justice to your time, and see you all again next week. Same time with Dr. Lim, who will be sharing with him. We will be sharing with him certain questions. If you have any questions, you can definitely post it here so that I can pick up those for Dr. Lim. Till then, see you all. Bye-bye.
It was spread throughout India. पूरी दुनिया में ये spread होगा. When India started to practice Sunya, जब इंडिया ने practice करना शुरू कर दिया शून्य का, the ancient Chinese describe Sunya as India. जैसे जो Chinese थे पुराने, उन्होंने इंडिया के बारे में कुछ बताया है. Simple, वो एक साधारण देश है. Elegance, लेकिन उसमें कुछ खूबसूरती है. Most important, majestic. और सबसे बड़ी चीज है महान है. तो ये है